For reversible lace, I like to work tubular bind off, I-cord selvages, and Italian cast on. I hope you've watched the other video that shows you how to transition from Italian cast on into I-cord selvages. This video will show you how to transition out of the I-cord selvage and set up the tubular bind off. So let's set aside the completed swatch and pull out the live swatch. So this swatch has 3 stitches of I-cord at each edge and 10 stitches in reversible lace in the middle. You may recall from the other video that the way we transitioned into the I-cord selvage was we turned purl, knit, purl into knit, knit, knit. To transition out of the I-cord, we need to turn knit, knit, knit into purl, knit, purl. And we're going to do that by essentially doing in reverse what we did previously. So we need the cable needle and we need the right needle again. I will start by slipping those first 2 stitches onto the cable needle. Now I know that I'm going to need the working yarn in a minute in a different location, so I will move the working yarn forward in between the left needle and the cable needle and park it here in front, so it's where I will need it later on. The 2 stitches on the cable needle are knit stitches right now, but you may remember if I rotate the cable needle, in this case I can rotate it 180 degrees counterclockwise, I can make those 2 knit stitches much more purl-like. And then I can slip this last stitch, this last knit stitch on the I-cord off onto my right needle. So now I have 2 purls and a knit, and I just need to put them back in a purl, knit, purl sequence. There we are. So that's one I-cord edge that's been transitioned away. Now I want to work the setup for the tubular bind off. And the setup for tubular bind off is slip the purl stitches with yarn in front, but knit the knit stitches. So that first stitch, I slip it purlwise with yarn in front. Now I'll take the yarn to the back. And knit the knit stitch. And then yarn forward and slip. And then knit. And so on down the line. And this is the same setup you would use if you were doing a tubular bind off on double knitting. And of course tubular bind off is really lovely on 1x1 ribbing. And I'm at the end and I slip the last 3 stitches purlwise with yarn in front because I haven't converted them yet. Okay, and then let's turn the work. Okay, work is turned. Once again, I haven't converted this edge back yet, but I can do so now, and I do it pretty much the way I did the other edge. Cable needle, right needle, 2 stitches onto the cable needle. I don't have to move the working yarn here, so I can rotate my cable needle 180 degrees counterclockwise to turn those more purl-like. Slip that 3rd knit stitch of the I-cord onto the right needle, and then slip stitches back. So slip the stitch from the cable needle, the stitch from the right needle, and the other stitch from the cable needle. And now I can put the cable needle away. And I should flip the work back now. Okay, there we are. So I've flipped the work back. You may remember though that I did not finish working the setup for the tubular bind off. I did not finish it on these 3 stitches. So I need to slip them back onto what is now the left needle. And I need to finish working my setup. So yarn to the back and knit, yarn forward and slip, and yarn to the back and knit. knit. And now I get to turn the work yet again. Now at this point, the tubular bind off is set up. And if you know how to Kitchener graft with the stitches all on one needle, you can do that. However, that's not what most people know how to do. A lot of people will find this easier if you put the purl stitches on one needle and the knit stitches on another needle. And so I got 2 needles, and I will just slip stitches back and forth. So you'll see I will put the purl stitches on the back needle and the knit stitches on the front needle. And this is exactly the same thing you would do in double knitting if you wanted to open up the fabric so you could put stuffing down inside of it. And knit and a purl and a knit. There we go. Okay, so now the fabric is divided. Purls are on one needle, knits are on the other needle. For time reasons, I'm not going to show you how to work Kitchener grafting across this, but there are plenty of resources that will show you. Basically, you take this tail yarn and you cut yarn that's 3 or 4 times the width of the fabric, plus a little bit to weave in, thread your tapestry needle, and then Kitchener graft these stitches together as if this were a sock toe. And that will complete your tubular bind off. So there you are. That is how you transition from I-cord selvages and into setting up a tubular bind off if you are working reversible lace.